Now you might not think of it to look at it, but this little creature forms the bedrock of the UK fishing industry. It is by far and away the most important valuable species landed by our fishermen. It is of course the langoustine, but it also goes by the name of the Dublin Bay prawn and the Norway lobster, but you may have heard of it as a scampi. Now that's when the tail meat of this creature is put in breadcrumbs or batter. However, there are a number of more interesting ways to actually cook this creature.
What we have here are langoustines, also known as Dublin Bay prawns. The tail, once the head's removed, is also known as scampi. Nephrops is another name for them, and they're probably one of the best crustacea that we can actually get in our own waters. Langoustine is probably the most used name, and if you go on holiday to the Mediterranean, it's one of the things you think, always Mediterranean platter, but they all come from our own water, and they're really not utilised enough in the UK. They're really simple to cook, but very often somebody would pick that up. This is actually a raw langoustine, and you can see that the colour of the shell is this lovely bright orange colour. When the langoustine is cooked, there's no colour change at all, and you can see the platter that we have here are a whole load of cooked langoustines. For cooking these, all I'm going to do is just pop them into some boiling water. I have a pan here. I'm going to tip those into the water and cover them with a lid. I'm going to cook those. Just make sure they're well pressed in. And we're going to cook those for between 7 and 8 minutes until they're actually done. Moving on to the ones that are cooked, that we have in a platter here, I know that they're cooked because once they've had 7 or 8 minutes, I'd lift the langoustine out and turn it over onto its back. And the actual colour of the flesh is quite opaque. When it's raw, it will be very translucent, and that would be to me a good indication that the langoustine is actually cooked. Presentation-wise, one of the things that makes these such a great shellfish as a main course or a supper is the fact that you actually serve them in the shell, traditionally with things like melted butter. What we have in this bowl here is actually a basil mayonnaise with some lemon and garlic in it. And you'd serve 3 or 4 of these, depending on how generous you are, but you'd serve 3 or 4 of these and let your guests sort of open them. I think one of the things that puts people off actually buying them and preparing them is that they look a little bit of a challenge, but they're really simple to prepare. All I'm going to do is take the langoustine and just pull the tail shell away from the head. You can actually serve these, and these ones have got really fantastic claws which you could crack. Just bang them with a bit of a rolling pin and use a fork to pull out the meat. For me, I would just crash these up a little bit and put them into a big pot and make some shellfish stock for those for a bisque or a shellfish soup. The tail themselves, that's where the main part of the meat's going to be, and to actually release that, it's got quite a lot of sort of sharp barbs along here, and to make the most of these, you need to just pinch the langoustine, and what that does is snap along the base of the underside of the langoustine, and once that's snapped, they're much easier just to peel the shell away. Peel that off, again you can use that for stock making, and just release the tail meat. Once that's peeled away, you will also find there's a little bit of a digestive tract in there which you can scrape away, but most people would just dip that into a big bowl of steaming butter or a mayonnaise and just ready to eat. Fantastic.